In this video, you are going to see how to use Ansible for the Debian 12 initial server setup. So I have multiple of Debian Ubuntu initial server setup tutorials, and here's a link for anybody that wants to do it manually. If you want to do it manually, you can come here, follow all these steps, and there's also a video you can follow. But in this case, let's use Ansible for the setup. So this Ansible playbook is going to upgrade packages, install specific packages. It's also going to create a new user, set up SSH authentication for the new user, set up time zone, fail to ban, server host name, add a swap file, configure unattended upgrades, enable UFW if you want to use UFW. On this point, I want to add that if you're going to install a control panel like HestiaCP or CyberPanel, usually they set up the firewall for you, so you can comment out this part. It's also going to disable the root login and password authentication and change the SSH port. So first of all, let's get the code and then I'm going to explain it. So at least you need to know Ansible. If you're going to use this, you don't have to be an expert, but you should be familiar with Ansible. So I'm going to download the file, save, I'll open it, extract here, Ansible Debian setup. There it is. Let me open this in my terminal. I'll open the terminal here, open terminal here. You can use whichever editor you want to use. In my case, I'm just opening it here because it's easier to demonstrate when you're using the terminal. So I can do a tree and explain everything. We have the Ansible configuration file. I believe this is just a sample file. I might have forgotten to delete it, but forget about that. And then we'll have an includes folder. In the includes folder, there is an unattended upgrades configuration file that will be uploaded to our server. And then there's also this swap playbook. This is a task that will enable swap, and this is also another task.yaml that will enable unattended upgrades, automatic upgrades for Debian. And then our inventory will be there. We're going to edit that. This is what will run. We'll look at it in a moment, the playbook. And then this is an optional thing, okay? The role that we have here, this is a role that is based on this original role from this fella. If you want to search for it, you can do Ansible Galaxy role search HestiaCP. You're going to see this role is there, and I put it here to edit it because it's a bit old, but I just added it here for you. So in case you want to install HestiaCP after the initial server setup, you can do so. But at the same time, I will do another video for how to install HestiaCP with this Ansible Roll. Okay, so let's look at the playbook and see what we are working with. Control L to clear the screen, VI tab, edit that playbook, and I put everything in one playbook, but you can put them in different playbooks. You can put them in different tasks, different roles if you want to, but I decided to put everything here because it's much easier for you to follow along in this situation. So one thing that I added here that will help you if you're interested in that is this vars file. This is an Ansible Vault. So if you have any details that you want to hide, like maybe the username, the password, they can be put here. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment because we need to create that file if you're going to go with the same step. If you don't want to create the Ansible playbook, the Ansible Vault for some details, what you can do is you can just add the literal details here. For example, for the new user, instead of getting the value there, you can put the new username. Maybe it's admin, just put the name there. Password as well, remove that and put the name there. And then all the other details are there. They're defined. You can change your SSH. You can change your host name as well there. Time zone. These are just variables that you can change. These are just variables that you can change and they will be used at some point. So when it comes to the swap file as well here, you'll see that you can change the details for the swap file to whatever you prefer. And then the size of your swap, you can also change the size. If you want 4 GB, you can change that there. And then these are additional packages that you're going to install. So if there's anything that you want to use and you want to install it with this Ansible playbook, you can add it there as well. And then let's come down to the tasks. Now, as for the tasks, update the package and then upgrade all the packages and then install additional packages. This is going to loop through all the list of packages we have here, and then create new sudo user. We're going to create a sudo user and the name of the user will be taken from what you put here. So remember, I still have to show you how to set up the Ansible Vault to make sure that this works. And this is probably how you should do it, especially if you're going to if you want to hide your password. Configure SSH for the new user. This is a part that's going to add the SSH key. Okay, the SSH key, I should have put it as a variable up there, but it seems I didn't. So you can just add it here, wherever your SSH key is, under your user home name, your user home directory, .ssh, the location of the public key. Make sure you're uploading the public key. And then it will be uploaded to the home directory of the new user into authorized keys. And then you can set the time zone. The time zone variable is also up there. Fail to burn will also be enabled. It's already been installed as one of the additional packages. And then it's just going to add this into the fail to burn jail.local and set the host name and then create a swap file. So this is going to include a task, and that task is inside of the includes directory. So inside here we have the swap file and the unattended upgrades that will also be included. So you can look at those to see what they do and edit them accordingly. And then auto upgrades, this will also include a file. This will also include a task from the includes directory. Configure the firewall. So here the UFW will be enabled, and then it's going to add this rule. So if you need to add any other port, you can just add it in a similar manner. The way I added 45 here, you can add another port. Just add it down along with this. Maybe you want to enable SMTP ports. You can enable port 25. Just add it down there. Port 587. You can enable it there. But as I said, if you're installing a control panel like HestiaCP or CyberPanel, you can simply comment out all this. Okay, up to that point, comment it out, and then configure SSH port, root login, and password authentication. So this is the last thing I do because it involves changing the port. And once you change the port, of course, you're going to need to change that in the inventory file if you want to be able to access the server again. For this demonstration, I want to use Vultra. I need a real cloud server. I can do this on my local computer with a virtual machine from VirtualBox or Vagrant, but I'd rather get a real cloud server just to show you how it will go. So let me deploy a server. If you don't have a Vultra account and you're new to Vultra, you can test it for $300. Link in the description below. I will also add links to other cloud providers if you need to use any of the others. Here I will go with shared CPU. I don't care about the location, I just need a server, and I can go with AMD high frequency. Alright, AMD high frequency doesn't exist. Let's go with AMD high performance. Take the $12 one. So I'm charged hourly, so it doesn't really matter. And I will continue. I want to use Debian. I'll select Debian 12. SSH keys. You'll need to log in with an SSH key, so make sure you add it. On Vultra, you can go to your account. Then there's a link for SSH. Add your SSH key. Add your public SSH key. So I'm going to use that here. Host name. On Vultra, make sure you add your host name. So I'll just use the same. This is just a sample that I added here. Copy. Come back, and I'll use this as the host name and the server name. IPv6, I don't mind an IPv6. Automatic backups. Disable automatic backups. I think that's pretty much it. I will deploy the server. I just need an IP. click on it. I want to get the IP and add it to my inventory. So I'm going to use IPv4, copy the IPv4, come back, Control L to clear the screen, edit the inventory. So if you have multiple servers you want to initially set up, you can add all the IPs here. In my case, let me uncomment that because it's currently not running. I'm just going to Control-Shift-V to paste in the IP I've gotten from Vultra, and at the same time I haven't changed my SSH port, so let me comment this out at this point. Once I run my Debian setup Ansible playbook, I will come back and uncheck it because after it runs, the port will have changed to that. Shift ZZ to save. What is the next thing I need to do before I run this? So also make sure that here you have the correct SSH key, private key for that server. Now the next thing that I want to show you, if you go back to the playbook, up here we have this verse file, and this is what's giving these values. Okay, so if I don't add anything here, it's going to fail. It's going to tell me these values don't exist. So I need to create an Ansible Vault for this. I'll just copy this in advance. Control-Shift-C, Control-L to clear the screen. So I need to create an Ansible Vault. One way that I show you how to do this is you add a vault file password. So if you go to the Ansible configuration, you'll see here I've added a vault password file. You can change the name and create a file called this and called whatever you want. And this is going to make sure that every time you use Ansible Vault, it doesn't ask you for a password. That's what I'm trying to do. And the password is used for decrypting files. So let's do this in real and see what I mean. So the vault password, I need to create this. It doesn't exist. Shift ZQ. First of all, let me create a file. I believe it was called .ant-pass. And then inside of this file, just enter a password. Just enter a password that will be used for decryption and encryption password for everything that you put in Ansible Vault. Escape, Shift, ZZ. And once I do this, if I was to do Ansible Vault -h create, so you can create, you can decrypt, you can edit, you can view, all of that. Control L, Ansible Vault, create user. So normally you'll see in most cases people use .yaml, but I prefer to use it without the YAML. That way it can confuse someone, they won't know what it is. So Ansible Vault, create user, Control-Shift-V. Let's add edit. Let's add a user here. So what will be the new user for your server? You can call it new admin 25. That will be the new user. And let's also give this user a password. So that is the password. So everything that you want to hide, you can always put in an Ansible Vault, and it's not that difficult to do, as you can see. So there we go. So we've hidden our username and password in an Ansible Vault. If I save this, Shift ZZ, and if I try to view it, cut user tab, you're going to see now it's encrypted and no one can read it. If you want to read it, you can do Ansible Vault view. It will show you the details. If you want to edit it as well, maybe you want to add more items in this vault, you can do edit, Ansible Vault edit user, and it's going to allow you to edit it. Shift ZQ. We have set up everything we need, right? So let's just see if there's anything I've forgotten by running the playbook. Ansible playbook Debian.yaml. Of course, I should have said don't check, but just type yes to continue. So I'm just going to pause and let it run. And if anything comes up, I will resume recording. So see you in a minute. All right. After waiting for a while, the playbook has completed running. If I try to ping the server at this point, I will not be able to ping it because the SSH port has changed. So let's just confirm that. So it shouldn't be able. Let's go and try and log in. Let's try and log into the server and confirm some of these things. Control-Shift-T, and I want to confirm some of these things. Let me get the IP address again. Control-Shift-V. SSH connection refused. So that's a point that is working. I don't know why on this end it's still able to. Probably it's just being cached. If I try it again, it should not work. So just give it time and it's going to pick up on that. So if you want to log in, you have to explicitly define the port you want to use for logging in. We can confirm UFW status. You can see the ports we added have been added there. And what else do we need to confirm here? Let's look at unattended upgrades. If unattended upgrades, let's see if they've been set up. Let us see, coming up here we can see allowed origins are. This means that it will run because there are allowed origins. Anything else that you can confirm? Let's confirm if it has created our swap free-h. There we go, the swap we created for 2 GB is there. That's how to set up your Debian server with Ansible. And now if you want to connect it, maybe you want to change something, you want to increase the size of the swap. So let's confirm this free-h, it's now 2 GB. Let's say we want to increase the size of our swap file. The first thing I'll need to do is to change the SSH port in the inventory. So 0 to go to the beginning of the line. I will delete that, escape, shift ZZ to save, and then let's go and edit the playbook and GG to go to the beginning of the file. And then what I want to change here is the size of my swap. So let's make this 4. Let's make it 4. To go into edit mode, enter 4, escape, shift ZZ. Let's run the playbook again. Ansible playbook, run the playbook, enter. Once again, let me give it some time, and then I'm going to come back once it's complete. All right, there we go. It's done running. You can see some things were changed. So let's go and confirm that. There you go. You can see now the swap is 4 GB. That is how to set up your Debian server with Ansible. You can download the file. You can download the Ansible playbook and all the files. Here, I've added the link on this post in the description below. So if I come back here and I go back to the playbook, something else I will do in the next video is how to install HestiaCP using that roll I told you about. So if you come down here, you can see I've uncommented installing HestiaCP, but you can also install HestiaCP if you wanted to. But first of all, you'll have to go into that role and then edit the various variables for HestiaCP, such as host name, admin, password, email, and so on. So those are things you'll need to edit before you run this. You can uncomment this and then run it after changing the variables. So that's something I'll do in the next video, and I can just do it on the same server. Shift ZZ. All right, that's pretty much it for this video. If you see anything that you can improve on the playbook, comment with your code below and we'll test it out and see if we'll use that to improve it, and I can share it with everybody. If you see anything that we can add here, also let me know. I will see how to go about that. That's how to set up your Debian 12 server with Ansible. Until next time.